Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Qt tutorial for beginners. In the last video we have seen how we can use checkboxes in Qt. Now in this video we are going to see how we can use radio buttons in Qt. Now the first question is, what is the difference between radio buttons and checkboxes? So let's see. So I've created this blank project and I'm going to go to my main window.ui, and in here first of all I'm going to take two radio buttons and I'm also going to take two checkboxes. This is to show the different behavior for checkboxes and the radio buttons. And I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to just run this app for now. Okay, so when this app builds and runs, we will be able to see the difference hopefully. So when I click this radio button, it's selected, and when I click the other radio button, you can see the first radio button is unselected and the second is selected. So in a group you can only choose one radio button, right? But when I choose the checkbox, you can see I can choose the both of the checkboxes. So the basic difference between checkboxes and radio button is, whenever you want to ask the user to choose multiple options, then you can use checkboxes. But whenever you want to allow the user to choose one option out of many, then you can choose radio buttons, right? So this is the difference between checkboxes and radio buttons. Now let's see how we can use them. So I'm going to remove these two checkboxes, and now I will just add two names here. For example, Mark and John. Okay, and we will ask the user which name do he like. He cannot choose obviously both the names because we are using radio buttons, right? And we can use this push button which say check. Okay, now I'm going to just right click on this push button and go to the slot and choose the clicked option and click OK. And in here we can just check it. So first of all we will add a Q message box class, because we want to show some message when this checkbox is or radio button is selected, right? So we can just add this Q message box class first of all. So just choose this, and in here on push button clicked method we can just write if the radio button is checked. So you can use UI, then the radio button name. So for example, radio button 1. So let's see which radio button is for which one. So this radio button is radio button, right? You can see in the property here. And the second radio button here is radio button 2 for John, right? So we can use these radio buttons in the source file here. So first of all, this is for Mark, right? So we can just choose is checked, which will give us the boolean value as we have seen in the last video. And then we can just add a Q message box and we can show the information here. And then this takes 3 arguments, as you already know probably, that this is the title and the third is the message we want to display here, right? So for example we can just say Mark here. Okay, and if the other radio button is selected, then we will display the other name. So we can just use UI and then the second radio button name, which is radio button 2 dot is checked, and then if it gives us true, then we can say the other name is selected, which is John, right? So let's run our app and let's see what happens. So let's build our program. You can see it's building and now it's running. So when I choose Mark here and press check, it says Mark. And when I choose John here and press this check button, it says strangely Mark and then John. Let's see what I have done wrong here. Yes, this method is checkable. I wanted to use this checked is checked method, but I by mistake used is checkable, which is obviously true, because we are checking from this method if the radio button is checkable, which is true, right? So we can just use this is checked method and run our app once again, and let's see what happens once again. So Mark shows Mark, John shows John, right? So in this way you can use radio buttons. Now for example, you want to use multiple groups of radio buttons. So if you want to ask the user multiple questions, right? So you want to ask the user what is his favorite name, and also you want to ask the user that what is his favorite pet, for example, favorite animal. And when you do this here, and let's say I will write cat and dog here, and when you do this and when you run the program, you cannot ask these two questions in a single container. I mean this main window widget, right? So when you choose this and when you choose cat, you can see it's unchecked, but these two radio button is for different questions, right? And these two are for different questions. So how we can differentiate them? So whenever you just select these two radio buttons and add it inside a container, for example this vertical layout, something like this, and this also in a vertical layout, then they are in a container. And then when you run the program, and let's see what happens now. So now when I check this and when I check this, both are checked, because in a container this is a kind of group. So these two radio buttons are the part of this container, and these two radio buttons are the part of this container. So this is kind of a group, right? So you can differentiate these questions like this. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.